We are live.
That's right.
We are live. We are live together. Nice to have you here. 8 a.m. Egmontunde, good morning, good evening. You are
And good
somewhere
night.
in the evening or night, right?
Yes, it's 9:15 exactly.
Wow, wonderful. We are 10:15 a.m. here. Nice having you in the house. I want to appreciate your presence. The notice was quite small, sharp, but that's the kind of notice you give to someone who is a guru. So you don't expect them to go and start cracking or racking their brains for whatsoever reason. You just push it, throw it at them straight, and they catch it. Ah,
Yeah,
thank you.
so
So,
all right.
family members that will be watching or joining, here you are, your favorite guy, your G,
Um,
your G for life. Egmontunde ATM is here right on Akins TV, and we'll be demystifying issues surrounding skilled migration through vocational or trade routes or vocational pathways or trade routes to Australia. And he will tell us many things from his wealth of experience as someone who migrated to Australia from Nigeria, and for someone who is a go-to person when it comes to Australian migration, an astute YouTuber who is always very ready to go the extra miles, to walk the extra miles with people. So we will walk around how to secure mortgages and how soon people can do that. We will also possibly discuss the issues surrounding workplace issues, workplace ethics in Australia, and vis-a-vis leaves that people can actually have. So if you have any question at any point in time, whether during this live stream or whether after, you can always drop it. And I'm very sure I will be very, very much ready to answer questions. Welcome, Tunde. Thanks for being here today. God bless you. So you have the floor. Tell us who you are, your motivation for moving to Australia, and how it's been going.
okay. Good day, everyone. So my name is Ayotunde, and most people call me ATM. So that's my initials. And I have a YouTube page, Australian Pathfinder, where we discuss everything about Australian migration. And I moved to Australia 4 years ago as a customer experience manager. So I came in through the skilled migration pathway. And yeah, it's been 4 years of bliss. And I've said it multiple times on my channel that it's one of the best decisions I've made in my life moving to Australia. So it's been one greatness to the other. So the Lord has not left us. So we thank God for
Hallelujah.
everything that has happened so far.
Thank you.
And and if you have worked in Nigeria and now working in Australia, like you probably you thank God like I thank God that I moved away because sometimes you see some things your colleagues back home tell you something that are like nah, I don't think they can that can happen again to me. I said even if I don't even want to work in Nigeria, or if I want to work in Nigeria, I'll probably have to have like some rules that I have to give to the organization for me to be able to fit in. Because of course, when you have enjoyed the experience here, of course, it's not all smooth sailing, but compared to where I'm coming from, it is far much more better. So yeah, so far so good. I'm an IT project manager here in Australia, and yeah, been helping businesses sort out their issues. So far so good. Have I done a good job?
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, my dearest brother. Thank you so much for all those things that you've said. They are beautiful, and to be very candid, I guess it's almost like that with everyone that moved somewhere. Of course, it might be much more fleshy in some places than other places. So it
True.
seems
Yeah.
you guys in Australia are enjoying robust economy, beautiful weather, and all those things. Now, let's launch into this. Looking at skilled migration pathway to Australia, that is one of the easiest and best pathway to become an Australian through naturalization, whichever mean. How do you perceive vocational pathway of skilled migration to Australia? Do you think people coming through that, people looking at that way should go forward, should forge ahead into it? Or do you think it's a no thing?
So I think I think we've identified and established this like 5 years ago when we started this process. Even before then during Belong's time on Ireland, we've been pushing this skilled migration pathway, especially for artisans and tradespeople or vocational people. But the problems we've always had is people not having the right documentation. So, but it's one of the easiest pathway to enter Australia, and where other occupations are struggling with 85, 95 points to get invitation, with 65 point and even competent English like IELTS 6, you will get an invitation in days when you assess for some of those artisans occupation, hairdresser, dressmaker, you are a fitter, you are a mechanic, electrician, electrical engineering technician. There are so many of those work that we don't really, what's the word now? They are not really something that people really give the due authority or
Attention, yeah.
attention to in Nigeria. These are jobs that people they make a lot of money more than people who sit in the offices. Like they make a lot of money. I'm sure you are in the UK. Maybe try if you try and call a plumber, you get the
Yeah, agreed. 100%.
most other professional jobs. For example, you are a civil engineer, or and you are a civil engineer and someone is a bricklayer. They will take a bricklayer first before they take a civil engineer. Trust me.
Hmm.
So and the point they will even use to take the pre-bricklayer will be so low compared to a civil engineer because there are so many civil engineers as well, but there are not too many bricklayers. So it's just the same way with electrician or electrical engineer and some other occupations like that. So some of these occupations, and they're very easy to assess. It's just that you need to have documentation and qualification to show that you are actually doing that job. So yeah.
Hmm. Thank you so very much. So, assuming somebody is a doctor, but before they went to train as a doctor, they've learned something like carpentry, joining works, and all those things. And they have all the documentations, and they are probably doing those things while still going through their trainings. And
Yeah.
maybe they are getting stipends from the person they were working for. They are getting pay slips and all those things, possibly. Is it advisable for them to use this pathway to come in, taking that coming in as a nurse or as a doctor, or a pharmacist or medical lab scientist take us ages, sort of.
Yes, you can come. The most important thing is having documentation and still be practicing. Because they need to also see that you are current. So yes, you have practiced within the last 3 years. That is really important for them. So you need to have practiced within, or you need to still be practicing within 3 years. So even if you have not worked as a carpenter, for example, in the last 2 years, but if you have worked in the last 3 years as a carpenter and you have 3 years experience with documentation to prove it, you can assess it irrespective of the occupation you are doing. Yeah, there is someone in one of our groups who is in Perth. he did. I remember him telling his story that then when everyone was getting admission to Unilag and he couldn't get admission and he got to technical college in Akok, I think, yeah, and he reluctantly went there and did this the technical college. I think it was a diploma for 2 years or so in cabinet making, and he assessed as that. I think he got invitation within 6 days or so. So, and yeah, if he had waited, he probably would not have gotten. If he had waited, because he has another professional job. I can't remember. I think it's one of those engineering and construction related stuff that he now had to come in as a cabinet maker. I think that was his occupation, cabinet maker. Like while everyone was still, like he got
Like when we
invitation like
were
the first class
struggling
one night
to be a not
while
to be
others were struggling. Yeah. So yes,
so it was a
the
walk in
results
the
of
park for
people
him.
for him. Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Thank you very much.
So
So
even if you
yeah,
have a full-time job, jump on it. Yep.
can we have an highlight of the documents that are needed?
Okay, so there are two documentation. So for most of the occupations, you can go through migration skills assessment because TRA, which is Trade Recognition Australia, is the body that does the assessment for most of these occupations or almost all the occupations. However, they have different pathways in for their skills assessment. So there are some assessment that require you to travel to South Africa for physical interview or practical stuff, but you can always avoid those ones depending on the situation. However, some occupations cannot avoid it. If you're an electrician, I think a plumber, I'm not sure. I think there's air conditioner person. Yeah, if you're in those two occupations, I know there are 8 occupations that you need to travel to South Africa, which is the closest country to do the.
All right, thank you very much. You can't bring out those. So we lost you at South Africa.
Oh, okay. So I said you will need to document so the qualification and the employment. So, like I said earlier, TRA requires that you must have at least 3 years experience. So, qualification document will be your diploma or HND if you have that in the occupation you want to assess. For example, if you want to assess as hairdresser and you have probably a qualification like diploma in hairdressing, if you don't have it, then there's the other option, which is for artisans like you. Maybe you went to do apprenticeship. So you will need your apprenticeship certificate. You will need your apprenticeship agreement. Then you also need your apprenticeship syllabus or what they call it, like transcripts. So, and the main reason why they need a transcript is because they need to know what exactly you were taught in school or in your apprenticeship. Because yeah, it may be very difficult because here in Australia, if you go and learn apprentice work, if you go and learn some of this job, they have outline of courses that they need to teach you when you are learning. So they call them RTOs. These RTOs have they are regulated by the country and by the trade board. So they have a particular. So if you go to anywhere in Australia to want to go and learn hairdressing, the companies have a list of courses that you must do. So you can name it different names. It's just like when you're in a university, you want to study accounting in UI or in OAU. They have similar syllabus because it's regulated by the central body like NUC. So that's the same thing they have here. So we don't have something like that. But I think we have, but it's not being followed by everyone. But you will need your apprenticeship syllabus or transcript to show what they taught you. So those 3 documents. And the best part that you can use to finish it all is if you have a trade test 1, 2, and 3 from Ministry of I think it's Ministry of Trade and
Is it-
Employment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you get the trade test, and some people have already had that trade test a long time ago, go
Yeah,
and
that
dust
they did
it.
not even know that it is what
Go
the
and
one.
dust it. You have it, you have it. Go and dust it. If you need to do like I don't know if they do a refresher course If you need to do a refresher course, jump on it. But with those documents, if you don't have like the normal qualification like diploma or HND, but you have certificate 3 or certificate 4 or a trade test or apprenticeship document, the most important thing, they need to see what you were taught, so you need that transcript. So some people have created the transcript, so they've gone back to where they learned the work and spoken to their organ, like they call it, and walk around creating the transcripts. So then you submit that. That is for qualification. Now for employment, there are two options. If you are self-employed, like if what you do now is that you are on your own, you will need your business registration documents, like your business is registered, even if it's local government or state government or the CAC document. You will need that. You will need your receipts that you issue to your customers. Then you will need invoices from your suppliers to show the materials you buy. Then the receipt will be how you charge your customers. So you will need those. That will be the third document. So business registration, invoices, and receipts. Then, if you have an accountant, even makes it easy. Get a letter from your accountant showing how much money you have, what kind of business you do. You can get a letter from that. If you don't have that, you can also get a letter from any of your clients stating that, oh, my name is Ayotunde. I am one of
A
your
constant customer.
yes, I am a Akins TV customer. We buy and sell or they repair all my stuff. Like especially if you have clients that are like companies that you work with, you can even get those letters from the companies. But you also need to show like payment document, like your bank statement. The bank statement where they pay your money. And this is one of the issues that I had with so many people. And I said, now that you know, start doing the right thing. Make
Yeah.
sure all your transactions go through bank. I know it can be annoying when you have bank.
So please, if you can rewind, please, because it went on a pause when you got to people should start now if they were not using banks before.
Okay, all right. So I said if you were not using banks, please start using bank for your transaction. Don't let any transaction go through cash, because cash is not going to record it, except if you have a cash register that you want to record all your transactions. But a bank statement coming from a bank will make it more substantial than your cash register, because of course, they may think you just created something from your cash register, but if it's from your bank, of course, you can't design a bank statement. It will be too stressful to do that. So it's best you have that. Then pay your taxes as well. State government, federal government, any tax that you need to pay that, because you need like evidence of that you are also a responsible citizen and you're paying your taxes. So that is for you if you are self-employed. Because one thing about TRA is that they need two payment evidence. So two payment evidence is important. So bank statement and tax will just help your application. Now, if you're on the other side, you are not self-employed, but you're working for someone as hairdresser, for example, they pay you 60,000 naira every month. Beautiful. Talk to your boss to create payslip for you. Pay your taxes. If your company is not paying, you can you can go to the state where you reside and pay your tax yourself and get your tax clearances or tax clearance, whichever, depending on the state. So you can get that, because with TRA you must provide two payment evidence. So that could be payslip, tax, pension, bank statement. So you need at least two. So if you don't have that now, start preparing them, because you need 3 years. You need a minimum of 3 years to prove to them. So start preparing them now, and the earlier you start, the better. So
Thank you very much. Very much explicit. Now, what I want to know is I know you talked about them, but looking at this cash in hand stuff,
Yeah.
are these assessing bodies still accepting them?
Some of them do, but most of them are moving away from it now. Some of them you'll see it on their page. For example, ACS, they'll tell you, no, we don't take cash anymore. Some would say, yes, you can, we will take cash, but you need to provide other evidence. So, like, give us your pay slip, which is easy. But some of them will require that you have at least a pension or tax statement to prove that you actually work there. And interestingly, I've seen a few companies where even though they were paying them cash, they were still paying their taxes. Because in most cases, most people pay cash because they want to avoid tax. Or yeah. But I've seen a few people who were being paid cash. However, they were still paying the company was still paying their
Yeah,
taxes.
yeah,
So
yeah. The first place, I mean, when I was working at Ijeakwe Medical Center in Ibadan, I could remember, God rest Baba Chupo Toyosi. He was actually paying our taxes. He told us we were being paid cash in hands. Of course, maybe because he possibly have lived in Obodo for a very long time. He actually know how things work. And he's one of those ones that really want to do it the way it should be done.
it's been
So he
on
was actually paying us cash in hands. And to him, from his point of view, is helping to relieve us of the of we
stress of going to
being
bank.
billed.
Yes. So, and I think nowadays it's 2023. It's difficult telling people anywhere in the world that you are still doing cash, cash, cash. Not even for salary. And sincerely, trust me, I've seen a lot. I've seen someone that wanted to claim that they received about 300k naira as
By
cash. I was like,
hands.
how do you? I said, one, these people, even though they are not in Nigeria, they have high commission in Abuja and Lagos. They have people in South Africa, so they know that 300,000 is a lot of money for someone to be paying you cash. So sometimes some of these things can play against you if you don't. You also need to be applicant needs to think like a case officer. Like if I was the case officer, will I approve this application myself? So that is the way it's very very
Mm.
important.
It is very, very important. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So you've talked about TRA. You are yet to say anything about vet access, and I think these guys are really big on vocations.
Yeah, of course. Vet Assess is vocational education and training assessment. That's the name, but TRA is like the main assessing body. So Vet Assess takes some of those assessment off them when they have too much. But some people also, because of documentation as well, they run away and go to Vet Assess. But actually, the main assessing authority should be TRA. But some occupations, some people just move to um, vet assess. But of course, before you go, you need to do an assessment, not an assessment, like a self check on TRA website to be sure you are not eligible for um, like vet assess. For most occupations, you need to go to TRA, especially if you have a Nigerian passport. So
So
Nigerian
if you have
passport
it
holders.
on top of your head, do you know some of those occupations that can still pass through vet access?
No, I don't think there is any occupation that will pass through VETAS. If you have a Nigerian passport, everything you just have to go to TRA. If you don't have a Nigerian passport, or if you did your apprenticeship or stuff in UK and other countries that is not Nigeria, even if you have a Nigerian passport, you may be required to go through VETAS. I was checking the self check. I remember when you mentioned it like some days ago, and I went over to check it, but I know UK was there. South
I
Africa,
didn't
yeah,
actually see Nigeria. Honestly, I did not see Nigeria.
yes,
That day.
Nigeria is
That
not
was what I
on the
was
list.
asking. I actually popped my information and they said people from my country can use this. After popping my information, I jumped that area that was asking, you have to is a drop down and
Yes,
Nigeria
there's a drop
wasn't
down,
there. So I
not on the
jumped
list.
it. But what I can't remember now is whether I actually, you have to put the where you are resident I can't remember
Yes.
whether I put it that I'm in the United Kingdom.
UK Kingdom, yes.
But
So if
the
you're in the
final,
United Kingdom, yes, I think you may be able to do with
yeah, but the
VETASES.
final information they gave me was like the summary was like people from your country can do this assessment or something. I'll check through again.
Yes, yes.
So it's becoming tougher then for people back at home if they are not they might not be able to pass through VETASES. That's it.
Yes.
But they
Because
can
TRA
still
will be the
pass through
option.
TRA.
TRA, if they have the document, yes.
All right. And
VETASES may be easier, yeah, but TRA
yeah,
is
TRA is much cheaper.
yeah, it's cheaper. $7.95. It's almost $300 extra. Yeah.
Yeah.
TRA is cheaper.
And TRA, is there the capability, I mean, the space to fast track like VETASES?
No, unfortunately. And they take about 7 months now. 'Cause, yeah. Everyone has this scope. Everyone now knows almost, and the moment Indians and other nationalities, the moment they get
Those
wind of that,
guys on the run,
so now they know that there's no point wasting time and waiting for all the big professional occupations where you can do the lesser one. So um technically, so we have a lot of they have a lot of application. COVID also affected, but anyways, I don't want to excuse them anymore because COVID has ended a long time ago. So they
Yeah,
need to
whoever
get.
is, I think whoever is keen should just launch into it and be planning
Oh
some
yeah,
other things alongside, planning the movement, planning taking English tests, planning settling, maybe they are business owners, setting things up the way they want it, they want them to run when they are off the shores of Nigeria. I think that is the best way to look at it. At least migration is not something you just sleep and wake up and you find yourself in the airplane.
true. The earlier the
So
better.
yeah, the earlier the better. Thank you so very much for that. So
Yep.
people may not be able to go through VETASES pathway, which is actually a music to my ears. If people have their money, I mean, if they have their documents, then there should be no reasons to cringe on going through TRA pathway. Of course, it's a long journey this way. So people want to move in the next 4 months may just look at other pathways, maybe go and pick student pathway and pay big money. Yeah. Thank you very much. Okay. So I just need you to, I know we've mentioned the fees, but I need you to speak a bit more about the fees for TRA for VETASES, the priorities, the no priorities, and all that.
Okay, so TRA is $7.95. There is no priority for them, so it takes about 6 to 7 months. I hope that it will reduce soon. It used to be shorter, but it takes about 6 to 7 months now. VETASES is 1,033 Australian dollars for normal processing, which takes about 6 months these days now.
They said 12 to
While
10, 12
priority
to 12 to
processing,
20 weeks on their website without priority.
yeah, yes, that's almost 5 to 6 months now. And for priority, normal priority is 2 weeks. That's 10 days. However, now you need to apply first for normal processing. Then you select that you want priority. Then they will get back to you. Sometimes it can take one day for them to get back to you. And I've seen people that it took them 2 weeks to get back to them as well before they said, oh, now we have space for priority for you. If you want to proceed, pay. If you don't want to, ignore. And then the 10 days will start counting after you make payment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So that is VETASES and their fee is 1,003 and their priority fee is 800 and something
Eight
Australian
hundred
dollars.
and six dollars, an
Ah,
additional $806. So 1,839 if you want to go for
That's
priority.
that's huge. Oh. But for someone who have
that's it.
everything and
That's
can afford
almost two
it, I
thousand
would just say
dollars.
use your money to buy peace of mind if you have the money.
Yeah.
But no be small,
Yeah.
no be small money, no be shekri one.
It's not. And I always tell people, please make sure you get everything checked before you pay, because having priority does not paying for
Guarantee.
priority does not mean you get a positive assessment. So, but make sure you have everything locked someone has reviewed it for you before you go and submit, because it will be painful to spend 2,000 and lose it.
So VetaSense used to do document checking before, and with that one they give you an intel of whether this assessment you want to do is going to be is possibly going to turn out sensibly or not. Do they still do that?
Yeah.
Do you cancel people do that?
They still do that. SAS, at least I've done it for 2 people recently. We're just worried, but technically they will not tell you if you get a positive assessment or not.
Yeah.
They'll just tell you that your documents are okay, which of course they will normally do on a normal day if they are doing the assessment. But you have but you can put words in their mouth. You are very, very
Smart.
what's the word now? If you're smart. Like one of the ladies that did it, I remember she the assessor was so tired. Well, not tired, but she was fed up until she said something that, yes, do this, do this, do this. That should help your assessment. So she went beyond just the document and said a few things and pointed her in the right direction. And of course, and she got a positive assessment afterwards. So, but now they've been trained not to give you anything that would let you think that you will get a positive assessment. So,
What if I
but if you go for it, but I don't know if it might work. Unfortunately, just right. Okay, but if you go with SAS, that's the skill assessment support. That's for the document checking.
Yeah.
It fast tracks instead of waiting for 20 weeks. People who do SAS don't usually wait for 20 weeks. They can get your result for you in 10 weeks or so, or 12
And
weeks.
how much is that?
The last time we checked, it was like $210 or so.
Yeah, I did it once. It was 210 when we wanted to.
Yeah, I don't think the price has changed. I don't think they've ever changed, increased the price.
Residential care something. I could remember too, because in the hospital we used to have some people, maybe children, that they were left somewhere and they would be like the one taking care for a very, very long time. 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, you won't have them. And so we just felt, but it's almost the same thing that they were doing on VetaSense website for this, that we are doing for this child. And myself and a friend just, okay, let's try, possibly it might work. And we actually did the that check, and they called us. They will call. And they called us, and while we were talking, the person now said, "And do you mean the hospital? Someone would stay for 5, 6 months?" Like, it doesn't sound reasonable to them. But of course, it do happen in some places and occasionally. But they would, with the sonship that person mentioned, we knew it won't fly. So we just quickly let sleeping dogs lie that time. So thank you very much. I think it's explicit enough. So after the positive assessment, like Gbakadu will say, after positive skill assessment, what's next? So what next thereafter?
Worrying about English test. So while you already, then your assessment is also ready. Then you can lodge expression of interest and then check this, apply to them or follow their instructions based on their, and do medicals, wait for your visa, flight down to
Take a do
Australia.
airline.
That's all. Whichever airline you want to take. Then, of course, there's also a discount as well from IOM. If you are flying from Nigeria, there is a discount for migrants if you're flying. So you can get that option, cheaper price of the flight cost. So that's a lot of money to be scraped off for you.
That's a lot though.
Cross
You
it.
cross
So
it.
yeah,
So
that's the
does the place one gets their visa have impact on whether I mean on the subsidy from IOM? Like if someone is in the
yeah.
US and got their visa and they have something to go and do in Nigeria and they were in Nigeria and them want to fly from Nigeria, would they still get the 70%? Mm,
Yeah, if they want to fly from Nigeria to Australia, they may be able to. Of course, if they have if they have a Nigerian passport and they want to fly from Nigeria, of course,
okay.
as long as they are flying from Nigeria.
Thank you. That's it. I think that should settle the skill migrants. Let's go to mortgage.
Yeah,
So what next after landing and what next now is settling into work and
yeah.
settling into being comfortable. So we
Yeah.
can someone their first home, how can become owner of multiple homes? How soon? What
Okay.
are the things to
Um,
put in place?
you, okay, so you start from one home first before you do multiple homes. At least understand
Mm.
how the system works here. Of course, there is credit rating or credit report that that is very common in most Western countries. In Australia, the credit report is what's the word now? You don't have to have credit cards or get a loan to have a credit report. Ordinary paying your rent and buying groceries and doing, you don't have anyone shouting on you that you're owing them. Of course, it builds into your credit report. I think the moment you have a driver's license, actually have you can have a credit report. But of course, if you have credit card, also it also adds to your report. So it can either reduce or increase it. So so of course they all have they have their own peculiarities based on whatever you use your credit for. Um, Also determines the kind of deals you can get. So if you're a permanent resident or if you're on a permanent resident visa or you're a citizen, yeah, you may be able to get some grants and some extra like first get. But if you are not on PR and temporary visa and you want to buy a property, you pay what they call foreign investment rate, FIRB rate. So you pay like an extra amount of money because you are a temporary resident. So because technically you are still technically a foreigner, so you pay an extra amount. I remember then when our 887 was being delayed and most people were tired and they wanted to buy a house. Of course, people had made the money and they wanted to buy the house. Some people still went ahead and bought the house, or some people bought land and delayed the building of the house till they got their PR. So there are ways to all these things. So when you get in and you're ready, and I know a few people that came in that they had enough money, or even right from UK or from Nigeria, and they were able to buy house like within the first few months that they landed. Um, of course, I haven't spoken to some of them to even ask them what if they would do this, if they would advise people to do the same thing. Some may probably feel like, oh, they could have waited. I've read some people say that they could have waited a bit because when they jumped in, they didn't really understand some of these things and it was a bit difficult. But of course, they've already signed. You can't go back again or you lose whatever you have. Be in the system of your situation as well. If you want to buy a house, buy it. If you want to buy land and build, yeah. or if you want to buy an apartment, whichever option you want to go for. And if you don't have enough money and you have like maybe some small money that you brought from Nigeria, from wherever you're coming from, and you want to quickly, I don't want to waste this money to buy something. You can buy a land, or you can buy plots of land, or you can even buy an apartment that can become something for you. Can yield some extra income at the end of the day. So you can start from there and understand the nuances of the way mortgage works. Then when you're ready to buy, of course, there is you need a deposit, but there are also some legalities around it. You can get some discount. For example, in South Australia, first home owner grant. If you studied in South Australia, you get some discount. Like you can pay only 5%. So most people, even if it was certificate theory like disability that you studied for that you studied, so you can still get some of those benefits. So there are a few bits here and there that you can get just to reduce the burden on you, especially if you don't have that huge money, like, oh, I don't have 500,000 saved or maybe 200K saved. And also, I always tell people, whether if you want to buy a house or you want to buy an apartment or whatever you want to buy, make sure the amount you are going for does not affect your life. Like, you still be able to live a normal life before before you sign off on the contract. And please share with, this is not where you don't tell people things. Share
Uh-uh.
with people that you think are knowledgeable and know a bit more. Oh yes,
It's
because
not
we've
it's
seen
not
a
the place
few
where you want to
situations.
surprise. You want to surprise people.
You want to surprise you'll be surprised.
Surprise.
So please, because yeah, you don't want to sign up for something that you now regret later and you change your mind. Or you will just lose it. You lose the time and you lose the money that you're.
Someone will go into depression. Hmm.
Get people to review it, especially trusted Nigerian people that you or people elders that have been here for a long time. Reach out to them and tell them, this is what I want to do. Or, can you help me? Or do you know anyone that I can reach to that can help me review some of this document so that you don't sign your life away? Because anything you do here, of course, it's all about agreement. And last, you will be on the losing end. Because I know no day for court. Ignorance is not an excuse in court. So, so, so that is something that I want to point out there. But yes, you can, whatever you want to do, make sure that you'll still be able to live a normal life, and you don't have to kill yourself. So start small. If you have a family and you want to start with a 2 bedroom or 3 bedroom apartment instead of buying a house, start there. If you want to live further away so that you can start with your first house, do that. Money, or God butters your bread, or you win lottery, you can move closer to the city and stuff like that. So planning, plan so that you don't plan for things that you at the end.
Hmm.
So yeah, so
Thank you very
mortgage,
much.
there are
Yeah.
percentages. Yeah. So yeah. Okay.
So how does the interest runs?
Um, Not generally the bank, or it depends on the kind of loan that you have gotten. For example, because some people will buy property or land, then they will get construction loan. Of course, interest rate may be different from someone who bought a house that is already built. Then also I think the bank that you're using, of course, the rate will be different. It may be slightly different. Then sometimes there is also what they call the rate and the variable rate. So fixed term is you are signing up with the bank that, oh, my interest will be 6%, whatever the RBA, that's RBA is like the central bank, the Royal Bank of Australia. So whatever their interest. So if they put the interest from 6, they put it to 7, I will still be paying 6 because you have fixed rates. So you can sign. So some banks you can sign like 5 years, you can sign 2 years. So there are different tenure for the fixed rate. Meanwhile, you can also do variable. So sometimes the fixed rate can be favorable and it may not be, because if the interest drops, because I've already signed up for the fixed rate. So most people think fixed time is always most variable. Then you can always like chop and change. Like I work with this bank today. They're giving me I bought the house today. So bank gave me the money. 3 months after, or whatever contract you sign, you decide to move again because you got something cheaper. So you can always work around that. So interest rate varies. So I can't give a specific. It varies the loan amount and also other calculations that they have to do.
Thank you.
And in most cases with the bank as well.
Thank you. Are we able to port our credit reports from other countries to Australia?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure you can afford your credit because the way credits work, like I said, for example, maybe in the UK, you probably need to get a credit card to get a credit report. Here is different. Yeah, just simple things. Like if you change jobs too much, you will see it on your credit reports in Australia. I've seen it before. Like they'll put it there, like this person is like high risk of this change job. The system is not taking into consideration is getting more money when they change jobs. What is that anybody's business? But at the end of the day, humans will use AI or an IT and just to clarify, I'm able to get you the money that you want. But saving, very, very key. You need to have, to save you a lot of stress, you need to have that 20%. If you don't have it, at least have up to 10% because there's what they call the mortgage insurance LMIA. Of course, some people you can get that waived if you have some government grant. They can guarantee, government can guarantee. So there are also schemes that are going on up and down. Currently, there's a current scheme for 35,000 people in Australia, but there's also a limit. So the house, yeah, you can buy, or the salary that you are earning, both you and your partner, or if you are single, there is a limit amount. If you go beyond, if you are earning more than that, you are not eligible anymore. So there are criteria to all these things. So time no go there to start analyzing them.
Okay. Thank you so much, Gbantunde. I believe people will have a lot to take home from this. And yeah, it's been wonderful having you around. So we were left with work ethics in Australia. Will it be good if we do that next time, possibly to have people around and see the flow of thoughts of people,
Yeah, sure.
how they want to ask their questions? Yeah, I believe this has
Looking
been
forward to
quite
that.
enlightening, and I can only push to people like you for these emergency things, and people that I know that they full ground, like bag of semo. Thank you so much, and do have a sweet night rest. Yeah, I believe there has been a lot to take home from here. Thank you, and God bless you really good for your beautiful time.
But thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
All right.
Good
Thank you.
sleep. Bye bye.
Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.